Anti-aging tips for 60s, 70s, or better. So if you are looking to slow down your aging and you're not in that age group, you might want to still stick around. So based on the feedback of our viewers, that why didn't we do one for 50 or better? So here we are with anti-aging tips for 60s, 70s, or better. Hi, my name is Christy, and I have been treating clients with acne, hyperpigmentation, and other skin conditions for over 11 years. And today we're going to be talking about some of the more common symptoms that people in their 60s and 70s encounter. Although a lot of these symptoms, many people of all ages encounter them. Most of it is due to products that they're using, product combinations that they're doing, too much sun. But the major difference is the people in their 60s and 70s, there's a lot of biological changes that are happening that are not necessarily hormonally driven. They're actually due to the lack of hormones. So let's get into it. So here are some of the more common symptoms that this age group actually encounters even more. So of course, drier, itchy, thinner, so like almost rice paper-like, and sweats less. So here are some of the more downsides as our skin starts to age even more. Some people will experience more blotchiness, gets irritated a lot easier. So for example, if someone had been using Retin-A and then they no longer can tolerate it, that could be a factor in that. So it gets irritated easier, bruises easier, blotchiness, more fine lines and wrinkles, more age spots, heals slower, and more skin infections. And if you guys didn't catch the video on the differences between men and women, you'll find out what men are more susceptible as far as skin goes and what women are more susceptible as far as skin diseases goes. So the reason why too, as your skin ages and they experience more dryness or itchiness and more water loss, is because the time that it takes to restore the lipids in the stratum corneum is actually more than double in younger skin. So now we have to start focusing, even though restoring the water loss and moisture is always important, it actually takes a lot longer for older skin to restore that water loss in the stratum corneum. So we have to focus on that more. Please remember too that the studies and any products or anything that I may refer to in the video, the links will always be in the description below. Okay, so the other thing is for women, collagen and bone mass actually starts to reduce significantly immediately during the postmenopausal years. Now this is here where there's a little bit of give and take with skincare products. Because of that, this is where, as you have mature skin, it's actually more important to focus on restoring the lipids in your skin and focusing more on a better moisturizer versus a lot of the anti-aging agents that actually can irritate your skin because you don't have as much moisture or lipids in your skin to kind of have that barrier on your skin. So for example, if you've always used a foaming cleanser because you like the foaming cleanser and you liked exfoliating cleansers, instead of using one that is focused on AHAs and it is a gel-based cleanser, you might want to switch to or considering to a cream-based cleanser to restore that lipid. So I understand a lot of the feedback that I do get from my older clients is that I don't like the cream cleanser because I don't feel like I'm getting clean. So here's an option. Try to find a gentle foaming-based cleanser that doesn't use a lot of the sulfates that can dry your skin. That is cream-based, but it's also foaming, okay? But it also has a gentle exfoliating cleanser that actually it acts as a humectant, such as lactic acid. And again, I can put some links for suggestions. Or if you really like your gel-based foaming cleanser, what you can do is make sure that restores your acid mantle and use that in your first cleanse, and then your second cleanse you can use a cream-based exfoliating cleanser versus a gel-based foaming cleanser that tends to be more drying. So generally speaking, and I'm saying generally speaking, I have some clients that are in their 80s, actually, one of them, and when they get older, they typically tend to like heavier fragranced products because they grew up with heavier fragrance products. And so if you are using a product that comes from a company that generally uses heavier scents, typically you'll find these in the department stores, switch, because now your skin can become more sensitized, and you could be using a product that you've used for generations, and all of a sudden now you're starting to see this blotchiness or hyperpigmentation based on the synthetic fragrances that they are adding to some of their cleansers. So to give you an example, this one right here, this is the MD Dermacircle Renew Face and Body Wash. It is very gentle. It feels very luxurious, and it is creamy, but it does have, and it foams. So it doesn't have that kind of, sometimes people don't like that, that kind of film that they feel. And the reason why sometimes they feel that film is because it's meant to leave a film for those people who don't have a lot of lipids on their skin. It restores that lipid on their skin. And it does use lactic acid. And it's actually a really good deal. Most cleansers are anywhere from 4 ounces to 6 ounces. This is actually 8.5 ounces of it. So I'll put a link in the description below. A lot of my clients who are 50 and over, and even 40, the ones that have drier skin, really like this one. The other one, now this one does not foam. So for those of you who do not like cleansers that don't foam, you're not going to like this one. But this actually has 3 different acids to gently exfoliate your skin, and it is a cream. It doesn't break you out, but it does make your skin feel a lot softer if you are tendency to be really dry. So the second one is exfoliation, and based on my experience, this is actually tricky as your skin starts to mature, because the skin cell turnover rate starts to slow down, so it's actually even more imperative that you exfoliate. However, because you don't have the moisture or the lipids, your skin is more prone to sensitivities if you don't have that careful balance between hydrating your skin and restoring lipids onto your skin. So exfoliation can range anywhere from gentle enzyme, fruit-based enzymes, all the way to retinoids. And if you are using retinoids and you've always been using retinoids, you may want to cut back or just alternate between fruit enzymes and retinoids. Or if you have sensitive skin, do not go near the retinoids or the glycolic acid. You need to do more gentle fruit enzyme based exfoliants. And there's 3 types of exfoliants. There's physical, chemical, and physical and chemical. So basically the physical ones have beads or seeds or some kind of granular substance in them. If you have sensitive skin, your skin is now becoming thinner, I would avoid those and just use one that is more keratolytic, and you don't need to move it around your skin. Now here's one thing that I am going to mention. Because of all these beauty vloggers that are out there that are not professionals and they don't understand, they don't actually work with all different types of skin. All they're working with is their skin and how products work on their skin. When you get older and you're more prone to sensitivities, I'm seeing more and more clients come in with all these different skincare products. They're not using them regularly. They're switching it up all the time. This can oversensitize your skin and actually cause low-level inflammation. I actually did see one client that actually had high-level inflammation where she started to get rashes on her neck. So you need to be careful the combinations that you're using, and start basically taking it down a notch with all the mixing and matching of products, because you can oversensitize your skin. Your skin becomes less tolerant as, we all age. So the next part is, how do you tell the difference on your skin with intrinsic aging or just naturally biological aging and photo aging? Because there are some slight differences, and you can tell on the physical attributes of your skin. Intrinsic aging is actually characterized by the functional changes in the skin versus the whole physical or structural change of the skin. So the most consistent change in intrinsic aging is actually the flattening of where the epidermis and the dermis are joined. Cell of decrease Cell of decrease. The decrease of melanocyte and Langerhans cell density. This is why as we age, I mean all over, I can see it on my arms and my legs. If you see people that they start to have areas where there's just random hypopigmentation where the melanocyte is no longer creating melanin. Increased levels of metalloproteinases, which decreases collagen. Decrease of overall cellular and vascular activity, including loss of fibroblasts. Overall, chronological aging physical attributes are dry, sagging, fine lines and wrinkles, increase of benign skin growths, and pale. Now we're going to talk about photoaging. And so according to one article called The 50 Years of Skin Aging in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology Symposium Proceedings, they actually said that sun damage is neither universal nor inevitable. So basically they're saying sun damage is not universal and it is not inevitable. So, and it is identified by striking morphological and physiological changes in the skin. So photoaging damage appears as dry. For darker skin types, they could look sallow. Deeper wrinkles instead of just the fine lines, because the fine lines are more because of loss of elasticity. So the deeper wrinkles are more from sun damaging. And if you are looking to how to treat deep wrinkles, we will be doing a video on that in the future. And irregularly pigmented, so hyperpigmentation or age spots, those are obviously from sun damage. And if you haven't caught our hyperpigmentation playlist where we talk about all the different types of hyperpigmentation, the skin type, and the different treatments, then go ahead and click on the link below and we will put our playlist in there. Now for those of you who are fair skinned, it actually shows up a little bit differently. The fair skin typically are also thin skin, so their skin starts to look more crepey, a lot more thinner. They actually, instead of having more hyperpigmentation, they actually have more capillary activity. So it could be rosacea or telangiectasia, and a variety of skin lesions that may not be, but it's not cancerous, but it could lead to being cancerous. They're precancerous, such as actinic keratosis. Now, if you are finding this information helpful and you haven't subscribed to our channel, then please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that notification bell so you get notified of our videos. And if you are really liking this information, we would appreciate if you give us a thumbs up. That tells us what kind of information to go ahead and give you. I've also, instead of going into all the product descriptions, I will put links below for people who are using anti-aging ingredients such as retinoids or vitamin C, or you have more dry, sensitive skin, and you're finding that the creams that you're using no longer really help in restoring moisture to your skin, then those will be in the links in the description below as well. So this next one is, obviously, the longer we have lived, the longer time has passed where our body is basically showing the results of all the free radicals, whether it's foods that we're eating or environments that we are in, the stress that we encounter on a day-to-day basis. All of those things are cumulative. So the one I'm going to talk about, believe it or not, is calorie restriction. And clinical studies have been done on not only humans, but also on rats, on spiders, mice, and basically showing that if you restrict the amount of calories that you are eating, this can also extend your life and also help at a cellular level. So when we talk about calorie restriction, most people are thinking it's about weight. No, this is clinical studies have shown that at the cellular level, what it actually does, it saves your energy. Basically, it gives your body a better ability or increased ability to fight free radicals. And what ages us? Free radicals, which is called oxidants or oxidation. That's why we use antioxidants, which neutralize free radicals. So basically, it neutralizes ROS. So ROS stands for reactive oxygen species, and without going into all the chemicals, I do have a video that briefly explains it, but basically it causes damage to our RNA and our DNA, so cell damage. So if you're purposely restricting your calories, then obviously you want to be selective in where the calories are coming from. So for example, if your skin you're finding that it heals slower, it's thinner, it bruises easier, here are some things to think about. You need to eat more proteins to help restore the tissue, the amino acids that help repair the tissue damage. That's one of them. The other one is you may want to eat more foods that contain color antioxidants to help with the breakdown of your the fine lines and wrinkles. Green tea is a natural anti-inflammatory. And for those of you who are experiencing aging and you're starting to see more blotchiness or more capillary activity, you may want to start concentrating your diet around the complex vitamin B's, vitamin K, vitamin E, and copper. These all help strengthen capillary and blood vessels. So at this age stage, even though good skincare is very important, we want to start really concentrating on the foods that we eat, because we need that to repair the wear and tear of accumulated damage that has happened to our bodies, whether it's our joints, our skin, our eyes, our back. So please remember, yes, makeup is an art and skincare is a science, but in this stage, we have to really focus on what we're eating.